All right, we are back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Lot Pop Talks. It's been a pretty good weekend. Came up with a lot of ideas. We are approaching the end of 2019. It's been just under 2 years of the podcast, and I'm really excited about how far we've gone, how many topics we've been able to cover, the people that I have met, the people I have talked to, emailed, read emails from, questions, comments, concerns, social media. It lets me know that not only is God out there and God is within my home and within myself and within my family and my listeners and viewers, but that there are many people who are willing to do whatever it takes to reach the better version of themselves. And through religion and through obedience and through study and through scripture and meditation, that's a possibility. And it's wonderful. It's amazing. So I wanted to take this time to thank you all who have joined me on this journey, who have just given me the motivation to keep doing it, just keep giving me the motivation to keep doing these things, because it's not easy, but it's not impossible. And so again, I want to thank you for being here. So what are we talking about this week? I want to talk about briefly talk about a point in standing for my marriage that I felt was funny. I want to let you know there was a bit of a humorous side to how God does things for people. When you have learned to trust in God, and I mean foolishly, like you're acting foolish as you do so. When you trust in God, you to other people can seem a bit off, can seem a bit crazy when you speak things into existence, or you speak things into your life that have not presented themselves just yet. People might think you're crazy. People might think you're a bit silly, and maybe you are being silly. But with God on your side, you have to be willing to trust in the Lord and show that not only to other people, but to yourself. That whatever He's going to do, because you have prayed for it and that you have worked on it, and because He is our creator and your leader in your life and the head of your life, that whatever it is that you set out to do, whether people see it or not, it can happen. So, my brief story. So, it was really like a conversation that me and Tiffany had. I guess you can call it a conversation. But anyway, there was a point where we were not going to, or I felt like we could never get back together, right? Obviously, the fear, the doubt, everything had just taken over. And there was nothing I felt I could do or say to accept Tiffany, or for have Tiffany accept me back into her life as her husband, as her mate. To some men, losing your wife is like losing one of your prizes in life. It might seem a bit rude to say such a thing, but men who love their wives, you're one of those people that you don't want to lose. Your wife is somebody you don't want to lose. Your husband is somebody that you may have hard feelings with, but you don't want to lose them. And so what happened was, as I was constantly at the time looking for any type of confirmation that Tiffany wanted to be still married to me, that maybe she would change her mind, that confirmation did not come. I would look and say, did you still feel the same way? Do you still feel the same way about before? Are you willing to talk about this? And can we just move on from this? And the answer was no. She was very stern. She was very committed to what it is that she was feeling and what she thought, and the decisions that she was willing to make. I don't fault her for that, because those are her own feelings. I cannot tell her how to feel and how to manage her own feelings, and I would do the same for you. However, I felt like there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could say. I was defeated already, even though time wasn't up. Nobody had moved. My wife was still talking to me every single day, and that we were still somehow managing to keep the house and the business of the house afloat. So the only thing that was being affected was my thoughts and my own personal feelings and motivations to continue being the leader and the man that God wanted me to be. All I had was the pain of an impending doom. So one night, that pain and that impending doom took over, and I lashed out to Tiffany in anger. And I told her that I don't know what I did to you, but it could not have been that bad. Which, if you're listening at this point, you have to understand it doesn't matter what you did or what you said. To try to mitigate someone else's feelings or what happened between you two, that's like putting nails in the coffin. So if you are willing to speak to your spouse, or if your spouse speaks to you and you do not acknowledge any part of what's going on, even if it is 100% their fault of what happened and they're the ones who want the divorce and all that, if you're willing to still point the fingers and the blame, you're going to be met with a lot of pushback, and you're probably going to close the door. You're going to slam the door on what it is that your marriage could have been. So anyway, I said what I said, and Tiffany said what she said. I can't remember exactly what she said, but the door was slammed, okay? Slammed shut. I ended up sleeping like in the attic. It was stupid. Stupid on my part. But I couldn't contain it anymore. That night, sleeping in the cold attic, right? I had time to think about what is it I said. I had time to get in touch with what bothered me. So when I got in touch with that, that's when I talked to God. God, I'm angry. I'm confused and I'm lost. And I don't know what else to do. Then I silenced myself because there was no point in talking to God all night to ramble on and on and on. It wasn't getting anywhere. And then I heard a voice, or though I got a feeling. What or who are you? What has brought you success this far? And I thought, well, it's because I'm a husband and I'm a father and I'm a leader and I'm different and I'm a little weird and I'm kind of geeky, but I can get serious. And like I'm confident, I'm optimistic, but I'm an overthinker, or I'm kind of lazy, but that's only because I want to be sure my moves, anything I decide to do, is going to be a positive one. And so God answered, then do that. Then be that. Be that. And I'll take care of the rest. So I got up the next morning. I went downstairs. Obviously, Tiffany is still angry, or I perceived her to be angry. And I smiled at her. Not like a creeper type of smile, but like a big smile, like I was happy to see her, because I really was happy to see her, obviously. But I smiled. I went downstairs. I made breakfast. I made coffee. Neither the breakfast or the coffee was eaten or drunk, but I made it anyway. I got the girls ready for school. I got them off to school. I took the dog out. I dressed myself. I showered, got myself dressed, put on my some decent clothes. I didn't just jump up and put on sweats or something like that. I put on decent clothes, got all my schoolwork together because I was still in college at the time, or attending classes at Bryan and Stratton. I said hi to my mother-in-law. I said hi to my neighbors. I started the cars, both Tiffany's and my own, so they could warm up. And when Tiffany came downstairs, all I said was, have a good day. Guys, ladies, She looked at me like I just freaked her out. Like the look on her face was priceless. And she was so like, okay, what the heck is this? She couldn't explain it. It was hard for me to explain it at the time. But I had not began, I decided. I got up that morning and decided I'm going to be the best husband I can be. Regardless of who acknowledges me as a husband, I was given that title through my covenant with God. So I'm going to be the best version I can be. I'm going to be better than the best version. I'm going to take what I think I can do, and then I want to take it a step further. And then I want to be able to do it as often as I can, every opportunity that I can, while I'm up, refreshed, and have the energy to do it in honor of God. I did it in honor of God. I freaked out my spouse. See, when people decide to tell you, when your spouse or whoever it is that you listen to or who have been in your life, whether in a impactful way or a toxic way or a demeaning way or maybe in a so loving way, they think that you are incapable of change, that you cannot, that you don't learn, that you don't have your own issues that you were dealing with, your own, your sickness you could be dealing with. You could be dealing with your weight. You could be dealing with your job. You could be dealing with your faith. You could just be dealing with something internally that's going on in your own personal life, not your marriage, going on in your own personal life. And maybe what's happening in your own personal life has affected your marriage. It has affected your relationship with the other person for far too long. The accountability part is I realized that I was my worst enemy, not Tiffany. I was my worst enemy. Whether I believe I was a good man or not, it doesn't matter. Good or bad is a matter of perspective, by the way. That's just a matter of perspective. What's good for me may not necessarily have been good for someone else. Clearly. But I decided to stick to what God called me to be and stick to that plan. And it took me, you guys, about 1 month, 30 days to develop better habits. And then it took me another month to grow upon those habits and expand them. In a sense that it rebuilt trust, it rebuilt my own faith. It changed the way other people saw me first. Other people, not Tiffany. I don't know what she was thinking or how she saw me at the time. But other people who obviously I wasn't married to or in a relationship with, who saw what I was doing, they started speaking up for me. I didn't ask them to. I appreciated everyone who did. And if you're listening to the podcast, for people who did speak up to me, for me, thank you. And the people who called me out when I was on tilt, thank you. But God had given me more than just motivation. He gave me support. Other people started saying things that supported me. You are a good dad. Wow, you're really insightful. You're learning a lot. You're so calm. Like, we can see that you've changed a lot. Even things that may not have been necessarily helpful, but people were taking the time to notice what was going on with me. I had lost like 60 pounds. That happens in a stand. You lose weight because you don't know what state you're in. You lose your appetite, or you don't get much sleep, or maybe you sleep a lot. Whatever the case may be, you end up losing weight. Maybe I'll talk about that one day on a podcast. So that freaked Tiffany out. Other people, speaking of people who barely knew me, who understood the intentions of my work, of what God was doing within me, started speaking on my behalf. We would go out with the kids, and people were speaking about how well me and her were as a relationship, as a married couple, which was strange because, right, we had the divorce that was pending between the both of us. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. If you have, let me know. But that's where it was. Later that morning, after Tiffany had left, she had made it to work. I was halfway to school, and she texted me. And I was kind of crushed the fact that she didn't have breakfast or coffee, but I did it anyway. And she texted me, "Thank you for making coffee and breakfast. I didn't have time to eat it. Maybe next time." To some people, that's nothing, whatever. But for me, just having her text me first, and to then acknowledge what I had done, that was enough to get me going for the day. I think I was good for the week, to be honest. I was good for the week. So, my lesson, my message, my advice, whatever it is you want to call it, that I impart to you today, it doesn't matter what people say about you, what they think of you, whether you can change or not, whether you learn or not, or if you're the same person they've always thought you to be. When you choose to do what God has called you to do and who He has led you to be, don't worry about the rest, even if it's from your spouse. Don't worry about it. Continue to be the best version of yourself, and then be better than that. And freak them out. That's going to do it for today's podcast, you guys. Again, I want to thank you for being here. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comments, concerns, email me. If you're digging the podcast and you want me to email it to you, you get the notifications of when fresh episodes are ready. You just go to the website in the description box, or you can go to www.tyrewilson.com. When you sign up through the website, you get a free 7-day prayer devotional journal. You get to keep. It's yours. We're going to learn how to support one another. You're not alone in what's called standing. You're not doing this alone. There's more to you than what you feel is happening right now. This is your time. And I'm glad that you chose this place to grow who you are as a person. Until next time, guys, have a nice day.